So I think the European Union has a role to play as one of the world's preeminent multilateral institutions. A lot of the challenges that we face over the next 15 and 20 years are questions of global cooperation. How do we tackle the problem of climate change? How do we tackle the problem of financial stability? How do we ensure that we have food supply for everybody? And these are questions that require global cooperation. These are not questions that we can address by having rich countries give aid to poor countries, but how we can work together, the OECD countries, the European Union, but also the middle-income countries and the world's poorest countries. So I think the challenge for us as we move forward is how Europe can use its expertise in reaching and sustaining multilateral agreements to spread that and to make the world a more multilateral, a better governed global community. Europe has a proud record of being concerned about development, being concerned about social justice, being concerned about inequality. Unfortunately, we have focused a lot on aid as our primary mechanism for working on that globally. And we haven't done enough to think about, for example, how our trade policies or our immigration policies affect the rest of the world. And so what Europe needs to do is to turn its values to a broader set of policy questions. We use our values a lot at the moment when we think about aid, but we don't yet think about an open, freedom-loving, trading outlook when we consider our trade policies, for example, with the rest of the world. We need to think about how the interests of developing countries can be more integrated into decision-making in all these different areas. At the moment, development can be a bit of a ghetto, DevCo and aid, but we don't really have development at the top of our agenda, for example, when negotiating trade agreements. So what we need to find a way to do is to ensure that development is taken into account in our policy frameworks when we think about all these other areas. And I don't exactly know how we do that, but I don't think we do it by having just a policy coherence for development unit in DevCo. So I think what we need to figure out how to do is how to use transparency, analysis, evidence, and mandate really to have the whole of our European policy decision making taking account of our impact on the developing world and on poorer people in middle income countries when we set our policies elsewhere. So Europe is in a remarkable position of being a voluntary association of nations that have come together, and we should think much harder about how we can use that history and that experience to share those ideas. But we have to do that in a way that's respectful of the fact that other nations are coming from a different starting point, in a different position. So we should be thinking politically, we should be working politically, but we should be doing so in a very respectful way.
But as the institutions are set up now, though, are they equipped to do so?
No, the institutions need to change.